welcome back. So, let us continue the discussion on this different conversion model. We have looked at the eddy breakup model and discussed about its issues and advantages and disadvantages. Then the modification to the eddy breakup model also been discussed, that is eddy dissipation model. Now, what we want to look at, we will look at the finite rate chemistry based model now. So, this is more or less detailed. So, this particular one important thing is that this is previously we have looked at when we talked about the EBU or EDM, they are more or less mixing controlled, but this guy is kinetically controlled. So, it means the chemistry actually controls the whole physics. So, now here there is approximate if the chemistry time is higher than the mixing time. So, that means it becomes a laminar or laminar turbulent interaction kind of situation. Now, one can think about the applicability. So, it can be used in non-premix mode, laminar case or the turbulent case, either of the situation this is applicable. And the source term, it is kind of using the Arrhenius expression. This is we use the mean values for the temperature in the Arrhenius expression, but importantly here now this case the effect of turbulent fluctuations are ignored. So, this is one thing which would be missing when we actually close the source term. So, and also when you look at the local temperature, that is also quite low. So, these are again, I mean, compared to the previous models, these are some of the issues that is going to come up here, that it does not account for those things. And also I mean the consideration of the non-equilibrium effects and all these things which are also sort of missing. So, we have looked at the issues of EBU and EDM, and now EDM, it is more mixing controlled, FRCM, this is kinetically controlled. So, these two are sort of contradicting to each other. Now, if one actually combine these two, that would be probably the best possible combination which will allow, and then that can be used for the application of. So, that is why we talk about this combination of EDM and FRCM. So, then we can use for turbulent flow with high temperature and intense mixing, and also if you have a laminar structure, that can be handled easily, because now we are trying to take the advantage of both these two models. So, essentially the advantage of these two models are going to be used to somehow get this thing to be closed. Now, when you combine these things, so for each cell the computation for both the reaction rates are done. That means one is the reaction rate using EDM and the reaction rate using FRCM. Then we actually look at the smaller one to determine the reaction rate. To determine the reaction rate, we actually pick the minimum or the smaller of between the EDM and FRCM, and then we look at the local chemistry and mixing control situation, which will allow to choose what is supposed to be added along with this reaction source term to take the advantage of whether it is an kinetically controlled situation or it is an mixing control situation. So, there are obviously you get some advantages and obviously you also pay some price. So, there is a large range of applicability. So, this is one of the biggest advantage, that once the applicability range or application range increases, that would be one of the best thing one would expect to have. But the other disadvantage is that there is no turbulence chemistry interaction. So, though we are coupling these two model, then taking the advantage of these two, but there are still remain some issues. So, then the further modification which was proposed is the eddy dissipation concept, which is by extension of the EDM, where it does not take into account the detailed chemistry, but now EDC can consider detailed reaction kinetics. So, that means it can take the multi-step reaction chemistry into consideration. So, what it does that if you have a computational cells like this, then you divide that into a small section. This is your sort of a reaction zone and this is your mixing area. So, the cell is divided into two segments. One is the reaction zone, which is a fine scale structure, and then there is the, so these reactions are happening on the small scale, which is called the fine scale, and that is estimated like this. These are the C xi is the model constant and the volume of the cell would be xi cube. So, reaction rates are determined by obviously Arrhenius reaction, because that takes into account the all the detailed chemistry, and then the time scale of the reaction, which is also estimated as a tau, which is C tau into nu by epsilon to square root of that. This is also a model constant. So, these are the constants which are default model constant, which was proposed by originally by the EDC model, but later on it has been shown by different researchers that this requires some tuning depending on the particular application. So, more or less these constants work well for large range of application, but at the same time this can fail for the small, the particular or rather specific application that one has to deal with. Now, once you have this, so you need the boundary and initial condition for the reactions. So, one of the assumption is that you have a pressure constant situation, that means it is sort of an isobaric combustion, and then you need some initial condition which is quite important, that is for temperature and the species mass fraction or mass molar concentration, whatever it is. Then we need reaction time scale and then the numerical integration. That means the one of the algorithm which was proposed by Pope is that ISAT algorithm, which is quite efficient when you get this numerical. Then we close the source term, the reaction source term. This is my chemical source term. So, this is for individual species here, since we are solving individual species mass transfer equation. So, each mass species will have a source term in terms of a chemical source term, and that is closed like xi square fine scale square tau into 1 and then yi to y. So, this is an mass fraction on small scale of species after having a reaction over tau. So, that means the mass fraction one has to find out on that these things. Still this is quite, if you look at globally, this has huge advantage from the application point of view. It can be applied to whether premix case or non-premix case or partially premix case, but it has problems if someone, when you apply for using a detailed kinetics and all these things. So, obviously when you use the more detailed kinetics, your computational power would go up. So, the resource requirement becomes quite high, and at the same time this integration of the reaction source term or there, that will lead to some steep differential equation when we try to integrate this species mass fraction. So, these are the things, but there are ways to handle it, because these days the computational power are quite handy due to the advancement of the architecture and all these things, but the differential equation solver, which is another area of concern where actually the ISAT algorithm has been found to be quite effective. Now, if we actually pull up the discussion of this first part, where we first look at the laminar finite rate, this is the where the issue here is that major issue is that turbulence is not considered and the reaction source term, the calculation is made by the Arrhenius equation. Now, if you go to finite rate or eddy dissipation, so there again we use the Arrhenius expression to the calculation of the source term and we calculate the mixing rate, and this is local choice whether laminar or turbulent, depending on that it is used. That means the primarily there is an, now the eddy dissipation, this is solely calculation of mixing rate. Here the kinetics is not considered, that means it is more or less. So, this case is mixing control, and then finally we get eddy dissipation concept where the actual interaction between turbulence and chemistry, these are taken into consideration, and then detailed chemistry can be used. So, all said and done, this looks and quite advantageous in that way, and the applicability is also quite high because one can use this particular model to irrespective of mode of combustion. The reason is it solves for individual mass transport equation. So, that gives you the simple models. Now, then we can look at slightly advanced model which are statistical based methods. So, that would be also quite handy. See why these things are, see this set of models what we discuss here, these models are theoretically can be applied to any mode of combustion, but obviously with some advantages and disadvantages, and then these are the one which are very specific to this particular mode of combustion. Now, we move to the statistical methods where we can see what are the sample space, what is going to be the probability, cumulative distribution function, probability density function, then moments of PDF, joint statistics, conditional statistics. So, these are the some of these terminologies, these things which are required for statistical based model, and this is primarily adapted from probe. So, now we can look at the probability of an event. So, the probability of an event, probability in a sample space. So, what is sample space? Sample space is nothing but this is set of all possible events. Now, you can have, let us say for velocity field, you think about there will be random variable of u and then the sample space variable v which is independent of the variable. Now, for example, if you take this is my sample variable v and this is let us say event A, then this is where you can say that A is u less than V A. Similarly, one can look at the event B where again in this sample space this could be V A, V B, this is event B where V A less than V B. So, this is how you define the sample space. Now, the probability of the event A, probability of the event A would be u when it is less than V A. So, that means P or probability of A is P of u when it is less than V A, and the probability P which is lies between 0 to 1. When it is 0, that means it is impossible event, and when it is 1, it is sure event. So, that basically demarcate between two sets of. Now, we look at the CDF or cumulative distribution function. Now, one can look at the probability of any event which can be determined from the CDF. So, let us say AB which is the probability of u less than v. Now, we looked at that thing v where V A, this is my A where u less than V A, this is my event A. Then P A or probability of A is P of u less than V A, which is cumulative distribution function of V A. Similarly, for event B, which is there in between V A and V B, that is B equals to V A less than equals to u less than V B. That means the u lies between V A and V B, then my P B is P of V A, which lies between this, that I can write u less than V B minus P of u less than V A. So, essentially anything this and anything that the subtraction, so that is a V B minus f of V A. So, that is one can write two different probabilistic event in that way. So, there are some basic properties of CDF. So, let us say occurring of event which is u less than minus infinity is impossible, for which one can say f minus infinity is 0. Then occurring of event whether u less than plus infinity is sure, for which one can write this is 1. And third, f is a non decreasing function, for which one can write f v greater than equals to f p a for p b greater than v a, and one can write f v b minus f v a equals to probability of V A, which is less than V V greater than 0. So, I can look at the, this is let us say 1, 2, 3, 4, this is V, and let us say this is 1, f of V minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3. So, this is how this guy will vary. So, this is an CDF of Gaussian distributed random variable. Now, if we take the derivative of CDF, that will give me probability density function. So, that means f of small v is d d v of f v. So, that is what, this is my probability density function, which is represented as the derivative of my CDF. Now, also PDF will have some properties. One of the properties is that CDF, when the CDF is non decreasing, the PDF, that is FB, would be greater than 0. Okay. Then it also satisfy normalization condition. That means, which is minus infinity to plus infinity f b dv is 1. Third, for infinite sample space variable, you get minus infinity to plus infinity is 0. So, one can look at this 1, 2, 3, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3. So, this will go between like this. This is my V, this is my FB 2 by 2 to the power minus half. So, again the PDF of Gaussian distributed random variable. So, these are the function of n. Now, one can look at more specifically, let us say in particular event for our event B, which was occurring there in the sample space. So, the probability was VA less than U less than VB, which was f of VB minus f of VA, that one can write VA to VB FV dV. So, if I schematically look at it, this is 0, let us say VA, VB, and this is how. So, the curve, let us say go like that, that is 1, this is my FB. So, this is my distribution of this guy, and the same thing when I put it back 0, this is my space V, this is VB, this is VA, so this is the part which correspond to. So, the interval where VB minus VA tends to 0, the probability will be f V plus dV minus FB, which is FB dV. So, that is how you get for the PDF. Now, you can take some example, like this is an distribution of an CDF and this is the probability distribution function. So, this is an uniform distribution where probability distribution would be between A to B to 1 by B minus A, otherwise 0. So, this is how it looks like, and this is how the CDF variation is there. So, this is an uniform distribution. You can take an exponential distribution where this is how CDF look like and this is how the PDF look like, and when b greater than 0, this is 1 by lambda, or other than that it is all 0. So, that give you an idea from CDF and all this. Now, this is an normal distribution which already we have seen, and this is the CDF variation, and this you get an. Now, if you have, for example, delta function distribution, that means the CDF is here, applicable here, applicable there. So, that means V less than A 0, A to B it is P, greater than B 1. So, that is my CDF. So, this can be written like an function. Now, the probability distribution at this point there would be peak, this point there would be peak. So this is my probability distribution function of that, because now we can take the, let us say, PDF of u is known, then we can find the nth moment. How do we find that? That nth moment would be v to the power n fv dv, and q, this is minus infinity to plus infinity qv to the power n fv dv, which is the q random function with q equals to qu. Now you can take the first moment, if n equals to 1, then this would be mean of u. So the u bar would be minus infinity to plus infinity v fb dv. Similarly, you can find the nth central moment, which is, let us say, u minus u bar n is minus infinity v fb dv. So the n equals to 2, which will give you the second central moment, which is essentially the variance of u, which give you u prime square u minus u bar square, which is v minus u bar square fb dv. So from the PDF you can find out. Now we can look at the joint cumulative density function. So that is the joint CDF of random variable u1 u2 in general. So the joint CDF would be written that v1 greater than u1 and v2, or u2 less than v2, u1 less than v1. So this is a distribution of v1, this is a distribution of v2. So the joint CDF will belong in this particular space, because this is lower than v1, lower than v2. So this is the area where that means it is dependent on two space. Now some properties of that, this is non-decreasing function, that means f12 v1 plus delta v1 and v2 plus delta v2 greater than f12 v1 v2 for all delta v1 delta v2 greater than 0. Now since u1 less than minus infinity is impossible, which gets you f12 minus infinity to v2 equals to probability of u1 less than minus infinity, u2 less than v2, which is 0. Also u1 less than plus infinity is sure you get f12 plus infinity v2 equals to probability of u1 less than plus infinity, u2 less than v2, which will give you probability of u2 less than v2, that is f2 v2. So this is, one can think about a marginal CDF, which means f1 v1 equal to f12 v1 infinity. So these are the some of the properties of the joint CDF. Now we will look at the other properties in the next class. We will stop here today.